So Gore got 500,000 more votes. Given the amount of votes they stole. They stole them everywhere, even in states that Gore carried substantially. They were stealing votes. And why were they doing that? In order to incorporate the Bush-Clinton crime family syndicate rule over the United States. Get their 20-to-1 derivative Ponzi scheme enabled, which they clearly did, loot this country, shred its constitution, trigger a 911 black op to legitimize this fraudulent faggot Bush fraud, and off we went. The Bible tells you to beware of false prophets, folks.
But wasn't it the pulpit-goons that were running around, Tom? These preachers in the pulpit, I call them pulpit-goons, that were saying that this man was holy and righteous and he had the Holy Spirit. That tells me that these pulpit-goons don't have the Holy Spirit if they don't have discernment of the Spirit and can't tell when someone's righteous and someone's evil. This thing Bush is evil, folks. If you're not aware of it, he's a bloodsucker. He drinks the blood. He does human sacrifices. He's off the charts with his daddy and his entire criminal, satanic family, crime syndicate. And this Hillary Rodham-Hearst Clinton, what is she, a 4th-degree witch, Tom? And you can go to a 5th-degree witch in the satanic world? And these are the people running our government?
She's a 5th-degree witch. She's a noted, well, we've already described her
sexual escapades?
Yes.
Lesbian.
No, that was the White House incident back in the 90s when she was caught paradelecti in bed with her White House prostitute, Susan, by mistake by a Secret Service agent who was then assaulted who then was assaulted by Hillary with a glass ashtray. And she then had to go to the Secret Service agent had to go to a hospital in Virginia to get treated, and it was paid off to shut up.
And then we can't forget about Adonis, the Secret Service agent that was on Secret Service payroll, who really wasn't an agent, who was put on the payroll to come in and service Hillary twice a month there for about a 6-month period. They say he was hung like a horse. So we can't say that she's just totally off the charts lesbian. We can just say she's AC/DC, short-circuited.
Look at Bush fraud. We look at not only Victor Ashe, but how many times did Jeff Gannon come to the White House to visit Bush fraud?
Exactly.
The bodybuilders.
All of times.
They're up there snoring cocaine. They were up there snoring cocaine together. This guy is still AWOL from his National Guard unit. This misfit. Got to be arrested right now and taken to the brig.
You got to be taking the brig for insurrection, for treason and sedition, for theft of the U.S. elections, everything, and the theft of the Treasury and economy. I can go way back on George W. folks, stealing $300 million from HUD Reinsurance, FHA loans, folks, where he was involved with U.S. Mortgage Company, along with my former in-laws, Leonard and Elaine Millman.
Now, Obama the current president, people don't realize he has a background with the Central Intelligence Agency going back to his role on the Indonesia desk in 1982. The guy is CIA, and he's employed by the Bush family. And I can tell you this, folks, you haven't seen one movie he's made up there so far that's done anything about our banking problem and these derivatives, have you? No.
You haven't seen anybody go to jail. Go ahead.
Art?
You haven't seen him go to jail. No, you're correct. He's an enabler of this crime syndicate.
Now, he's the first black president. He's this and that, and he's a liberal. He's a bank dick, just like Bush was a bank dick, just like Clinton was a bank dick. I mean, it's that simple at this point, folks. There's no other way out. These derivatives are still hanging over our economy like a sword of Damocles. Paul Volcker told him to nationalize the banks the first week, get rid of the derivatives, put them in bankruptcy court where the shareholders could sue, and you would then find where the money is. The back end of the derivatives is cash. That's the purchase price of the derivatives. They're all in secret accounts in Kenya, where Hillary's on the way to right now. By the way, she's going to the Central Bank of Kenya. Iraq, North Korea, which we've touched on, India, and Pakistan. Can you believe that, folks? That's where the money is. Stu, you still with me?
I am with you, Tom.
Okay, we got to be careful here, because as we speak the truth, they come into these zones and they don't like it, do they, Stu?
No, they don't. They have a way of playing their game.
No, we speak truth, and we speak it with conviction and with knowledge and with 100% authority, folks. You know, you look at Cheney's assassination teams. That's Halliburton. That's Bosnia. That's Tony Blair. That's Al-Qaeda. Most of these assassination teams were basically employees or were basically hired by Bush, Clinton, and Cheney. These were the Al-Qaeda groups linked to none other than Tim Osman, a.k.a. Osama bin Laden. You see, this is the stuff Patrick Fitzgerald is covering up. You know, Fitzgerald, we know what he's been leaking selected emails on Karl Rove. Karl Rove's up to his neck in fraud with Robert Luskin, the former Monica Lewinsky attorney who now represents Rove, the extortion-friendly editor of the Chicago Tribune, James Warren. The fact is that email evidence is now surfacing in the Justice Department, showing that Richard Armitage, Scooter Libby, who, by the way, is the attorney for Bush Clinton crime syndicate bagman Mark Rich, Karl Rove, Bush, and Cheney, and this little stooge, the election-stealing witch, Mary Matlin, conspired with elements of the Israeli Mossad and Turkish intelligence, a.k.a. the American Turkish Council, to plant weapons of mass destruction in Iraq before the war started. And who caught on to that? Valerie Plame. That's why they wanted her out of the way. Did Fitzgerald ever indict anybody vis-a-vis that charge of who outed Valerie Plame? No. He didn't do anything. He indicted Scooter Libby for perjury, knowing Bush would commute in sentence. That was a box operation, wasn't it, Stu?
It was box operation. That's
okay.
How they cover everything up, just like they covered up with Kenny Starr. Sex with Lewinsky was his charge. He lied to the grand jury. End of problem. No, it's about guns, drugs, treason, sedition, the theft of the U.S. Treasury, murders of whistleblowers, murders of federal agents, murders of U.S. attorneys who have tried to come against them to expose them. This is what it's all about, folks. It's the end of our country if, should we say, nothing's done.
And who were tied to these assassination teams that the media has slightly touched on as Seymour Hersh? As we just mentioned, the True Colors teams. Gary Bestink, we call them, Bush, Clinton, Cheney, Halliburton, Israeli Mossad, and Les Al-Qaeda. Tim Osman is still on the U.S. payroll. Well, he's not on the U.S. payroll anymore, but he was on the U.S. payroll, CIA payroll, bin Laden, from the time, pre and post 9/11. Now, he's been dead for over 8 years now.
And we got the document right up there about who he was. Tim Osman, Osama bin Laden, tied to this Ted Gunderson, Division Number 5 FBI stooge group that's always out there trying to cause chaos with Tom Heneghan and Stu Webb. Why?
Now,
because we speak too much truth. If you go to the Internet site, the things Tom's talking about this evening has been reported on StuWebb.com, on Tom's blog, repeatedly over the past 6 months. These things we talk about before you ever hear them in the mainstream media.
Now, the key to the ATA, the American Turkish Council, there was a lot of funding for these assassination teams, was laundered this money. And that was the key to 9/11. The financial funding of the patsies went through the American Turkish Council. Starr is covering that up. Starr is covering up the planning of the WMD in Iraq before the war. He's covering that up.
Or you mean Fitzgerald is?
Fitzgerald, excuse me, is covering that up. Guess what, folks? Guess who was just appointed by President Obama to be the head of to be, quote unquote, the U.S. attorney in charge to monitor all other U.S. attorneys across the United States. He's been given an office in the Justice Department. Guess who that is, Stu? Patrick Fitzgerald.
Fitzgerald Patrick.
Can you believe that?
His payoff, just like John Ashcroft, former Attorney General, underneath Bush fraud, homosexual, Bush fraud.